got my Atari Olympic button here because we're going to play track and field for your Atari 2600. Originally, it came with this track and field controller, which simulates the arcade setup. So you got two run buttons. This is basically left on the joystick. This is right. You go back and forth with them, and a jump throw button, your basic joystick button right there for various actions in the game. So let's go ahead and plug this into my 7800. Let's take track and field, the cartridge, pop that into my 7800 and see how the game holds up today. Let's go to the game. Track and Field was published by Atari and, according to randomterrain.com, most likely came out in August of 1986, despite the fact that it was supposed to be released in 1984 to capitalize on Atari's sponsorship of the 1984 Summer Olympics. As a matter of fact, Atari even advertised Olympic tie-in merchandise in their March-April 1984 edition of Atari Age magazine. So why the delay with Track and Field? This would be because earlier in the summer of '84, Warner Brothers sold the home division of Atari to Jack Tramiel of Commodore 64 fame, whose main interest in the brand was for the computer side and didn't really do much with the home video game side of things until 1986, when the market rebounded from the crash, thanks in no small part to the success of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Track and Field is based on the 1983 Konami arcade game, which was introduced shortly after the release of the Activision Decathlon for the Atari 2600, which I reviewed in the previous episode. The similarities between the two are so close, one might think it's more than just a coincidence. Over in Japan, the game was originally known as Hyper Olympic. Ironically, it seems that Atari, already having the rights to the Olympic name for video games in the United States, forced the name change for America. The back of the box says the following: "The one you've been training for. Go for the gold." With 6 amazing realistic Summer Olympic events and its own special arcade controller, Track and Field is the real thing. Test your speed in the 100-meter dash. Improve your pacing in the long jump and javelin throw. Clear the 100-meter hurdles through true athletic agility. Concentrate on split-second timing in the hammer throw. Gather your momentum for the high jump. Track and Field is for 1 or 2 players, with 2 players competing at the same time in the 100-meter dash and the 100-meter hurdles. It has 3 modes of difficulty: Novice, Arcade, and Expert. The higher the difficulty, the more tougher the qualifying performance requirements for each event. If you ever fail to meet a qualifying performance requirement for any event, your game will end. When you start the game, you can input 3 initials. The first event is the 100-yard dash. Here you must wait for the starting pistol to go off before running, or you will foul. 3 fouls and you're out. To run, you just mash alternating white buttons on the controller or wiggle a joystick left and right repeatedly as fast as you can. If you pass the dash, you move on to the second event, the long jump. Here you once again mash the white buttons or wiggle the joystick to run, but before you get to the line, you press the red button to start your angle of the jump, with the manual recommending a 45-degree angle, and then release the button to lock in that angle. If you start your jump too late, you foul, losing an attempt. You get 3 attempts, with your best score being added to your total. Pass the long jump and you move on to the third event, the javelin throw. It controls just like the long jump, complete with 3 attempts and a recommended 45-degree angle in the manual. If you succeed in the javelin, you move on to the fourth event, the hurdles, which is just like the 100-meter dash, except now you use the red button to jump hurdles. Hitting a hurdle, knocking it over, doesn't necessarily end your game, but it will slow you down. Pass the hurdles and you move on to the fifth event, the hammer throw. Here you simply press a white button or move the joystick left or right to start. Your guy will automatically start spinning, going faster and faster. All you have to do is hold down the red button once he gains enough speed and release it to lock in your angle. Beyond getting a good angle, you also have to do this before he fouls out, and while his aim is in bounds. It sounds easy, but I actually had a lot of difficulty with this event. Should you pass the hammer throw, you will move on to the sixth and final event, the high jump. It controls just like the long jump, except you need to judge when to jump without a specific line, and when setting your angle, it now starts at 90 degrees and descends instead of ascending like the other events. The manual does not give a recommended angle for this event, and I don't think 45 degrees is a good one to aim for here. You can make as many attempts as you want until you fail to make 3 clean jumps. If you pass the qualifying height on the high jump, you in essence win the game and finish on the podium. Scoring wise, you get points for each event added to your score, depending on how well you do, with the manual showing you the point ranges. In events with multiple attempts, only points from your best attempt will be added to your main score. Graphically speaking, by Atari 2600 standards, this is a very impressive looking game. The sounds, while not as impressive as the graphics, are still pretty good. Family friendly wise, the game would most likely get an E for everyone rating if released today. Currently at pricecharting.com, the game has a value of $69 loose for just the cartridge, $48 for just the controller, and $489 when complete, including cartridge, controller, box, and manual. So what did I think of Track and Field for the Atari 2600? Is it worth playing today? I think it is, but it's not a game I could play in long spurts. I'm grateful they included the controller because personally, I do feel it's the best way to play the game, and it saves you from potentially breaking joysticks. You can also use a trackball as an alternative, quickly alternating moving the trackball left and right. Apparently, later conversions of the arcade game itself actually replaced the run buttons with a trackball. However, I still found that the controller worked the best. And in case you are wondering, putting the trackball into trackball mode does not work in Track and Field like it did for the Activision Decathlon, and actually caused false starts when I try to use it that way. So if you are going to use a trackball, make sure it's in joystick mode. Personally, I found the best method was to turn the Track and Field controller 90 degrees, using one hand to mash the white run buttons and the opposite hand for the red action button. Even with the dedicated controller, my hands still cramped up a bit after playing, so like I said, I can only play it in short spurts. I will say that I missed the ability to practice a single event like I could in the Activision Decathlon. It was frustrating to reach an event, quickly fail, and have to work my way back up to try it again. But where this game really shines when compared to the Activision Decathlon is the ability to set angles, and that it takes less time to play a complete game, which when either game can cause hand discomfort is a big plus, at least for me personally. And if you have a second player, you can play some events at the same time, while forcing them to use your cruddy joystick that you don't mind possibly breaking. So where am I going to rank Track and Field among the other Atari 2600 games I've previously reviewed? It's going somewhere in the middle of my rankings in the 130s. I'm going to give Mad the edge at 130, but I will put this over Gopher at 131. So of the 264 games I'm now ranked for the Atari 2600, Track and Field is hurtling into the 131 position. Track and Field may cause hand cramping, but it's worth trying if you can find the Track and Field controller to play with it. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Do you like this game or have any memories of it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy videos such as this one and you want to support my work, please click like and subscribe, drop a comment below, and for Mega supporters, either become a channel member or sign up at patreon.com/NoSwearGamer. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to see you next time in the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, especially when setting your angles.